Hello, you guys. It's me, Lise Perez, your master embodiment coach and author. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you. Welcome back to my channel. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this video if it resonates with you and you love it just as much as I do. Hit the little bell so that you can receive all of the notifications of when I go live next. I go live every single day. So I'm so happy that you guys are here and I'm so grateful. So today, guys, what I wanted to talk to you about is, stop begging for approval. Now, what does this mean? So this can mean a lot of things, but I'm specifically referring to business and personal growth and development. Now, when I talk about begging for approval, I don't essentially mean, please, like, why don't you like me? I mean, when it comes to business, letting go of the limiting mentality that people are going to judge you like crazy and that your story is not good enough and that you are not good enough, right? And so there's, a couple of things that can go a little bit haywire here, because when you're constantly begging for approval and you're not being who you actually are, you're not embodying every single piece of you, that authenticity, that realism of that person that you are meant to be in this world, the person that you already are, right? But that you are meant to expand to greater heights, right? When you are not that person, what happens? You end up becoming, sorry to say, fake individual, because you're not using your own voice, you're not using your own message, you're not sharing your own message, but you're reiterating maybe something else that someone was sharing, and their words, their voice, their message, but yet you're like, oh, okay, I resonate with this, and then you go and you share it in your own wording, of course, but it doesn't seem like you, it doesn't sound like you, because it's not your voice, it's that other person's voice, and so people can tell that. And there's something in the coaching world that kind of talks about using your own voice, using your own story, of course, being authentic, being real, being raw, owning your truth. And there's some coaches that are like, they can't find their niche, or they're unable to find their niche, and they're not sure what they should be doing. They're not sure, they know that they want to be a coach, but yet they're not sure what the type of coaching that they want to do, or they're not sure of their niche, they're not sure of their target market, they're not sure what their voice actually is and what their message is. So they nitpick, they grab little bits and pieces from different coaches and from different messages that they share or that they see, and then they combine them, and all of a sudden it's like, these are my words, guys, this is what I'm saying, this is what I'm talking about, but people won't resonate with you that way, because it is not your voice, it is someone else's. It is not really your message, although it might be very similar to your message, but it's not you're not fully grasping your truth. And so when I talk about begging for approval, so many of us, and believe me, I've done it before, where I go live on Facebook, for example, every single day, and I did that for a time, and for several weeks, or actually several months, I'll say, and there'll be times where I was like, oh gosh, you guys, let me know if you like this video, let me know if you enjoy it, let me know if I said the right things. I didn't tell people that, but I would think it, and I was like, please, like, I hope you guys enjoy it, and if you do, please share. And that just came off as not as authentic, didn't come off as that real, and people wouldn't share it. Yeah, they resonate with the message, they'll say, oh my gosh, you're so inspiring, and all the vibes, but they won't actually share, because it's not really your voice, so to speak. You're just, you come off as a beggar. You come off as like, please, like my message. Please like my message. I did it for you. I impacted you. I'm sharing a message for you. Please like it. Please share with your friends. Please do it. Right? It doesn't quite work that way, my friends, because you need to really own your voice and really, really be who you are. And I was in a seminar, first day of a program today, and they spoke similar concepts of this, and they said, you know, if you're going to share someone else's work, then quote them. Don't just share it, and don't just share it just because you love it and because it resonates with you, and you all of a sudden, you don't quote them, or you kind of plagiarize it and you don't really make it your own. Like you make it your own, right? It's not your words, it's not your voice, it's not your message. Even though it might be similar to it, but it's someone else's words, it's someone else's voice. And so when you share it just like that, and you don't quote, you don't be like, I heard this from my coach, or whatever the case may be, then you go off as not really owning your truth here. You're essentially, you're kind of begging for approval because you like it. You saw the traction that this statement gave with other people, and so you're like, okay, so if I share it within my network, pretend it's my words, then maybe, just maybe, I'm hoping that people will resonate with it as well, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, you're so fabulous, you're so inspiring. But people can tell. So rather than continuously beg for approval about who you are versus who you aren't, it's so much better for you to own your truth, for you to show your utmost authenticity, and to really, 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 really be who you are, online and offline, than actually begging the world for approval. Right? It's so cliche, because as we're grown up, and I'm not sure if that's you, but generally what happens when mostly, so I'm going to talk in my case, I'm Asian descent, I'm Filipino, and most Asian parents will be like, this is what I want you to do, or this is what I'm doing, I'm a doctor and lawyer, or I work with computers, or whatever the case may be, and they're like, so when you grow up, you got to do this. Why don't most often than not, 9 times out of 10, even though your parents say you got to be a doctor, you got to get into med school, you got to get into law school, even though they say that, you don't do it. Why? It's because it's not part of who you are. It's not owning your truth. If you do it, you're trying to, you're begging your parents for approval, because you believe that if you don't get into med school like they said that you wanted to, because maybe it's generation for generation or generation, that they won't approve of your passion, they won't approve of your purpose. I've seen it so many times over. My parents, my dad, it was like, okay, you need to get into computers, right? He's Canadian. You need to get into computers, and this is what I want you to do. And my mom's like, oh yeah, she's a travel agent, right? And she's like, oh yeah, you should get into travel agents. should become a travel agent, because I know you love to travel, and you should do that. And I do that because, I have a lot of benefits, and I get to travel whenever I want, and all the fun stuff. And then I have my grandmother, who's like, I worked in hospitals, and I retired in the hospital, so it's really, really good money if you become an RN, if you become a nurse, if you become a doctor, if you work in the hospital. Just do it because I did it. And then, I have my grandfather and the male sides of the family who are engineers, and like, oh, you should become an engineer because it's really, really awesome. I didn't do any of that. I'm a coach, right? I worked for a time in the hospitality industry, right? Like in restaurants, and because that is what I love to do, but I'm a coach. I was divinely guided, and I got led back to my purpose, which was to inspire and impact millions of women around the world, right? To help them master their mindset, break their inner glass ceilings, release limiting blocks, be unapologetically them. I didn't do not a single one of my family members as a coach. Why? Because I didn't want to beg for their approval. I didn't want to do something that I was not happy with, so that just for them to approve at what I was doing, right? You see how it works here? just to be happy with, just for them, for the family to be happy with what I was doing and to approve of what I was doing. I wasn't going to go run off and work as an engineer. I wasn't going to go run off and work as in the hospitals or in travel agencies, even though I do love to travel, or in the computer technology world. I didn't want to do all that because that's not where my purpose is. That's not where, you know, I was guided to, or I was directed to, or where my journey came from, right? It's such an important and crucial piece when you know, it's not that you mean to beg for approval, but sometimes it just happens. And it starts with your family. It starts with your limiting beliefs, your limiting blocks, that it's like, I don't know what to do with my life. And then there's all these different sides of the coin that are telling you that you should do this. And it's like, okay, I'm going to run off and do this. But are you really happy? Not really. Probably not. You might force happiness for a time, but are you really happy? Guaranteed you aren't, because if it's not part of your purpose, or if it's not part, like, you know, if you're not being directed onto your purposeful path, then chances are you're not going to be happy doing whatever it is that you're doing, because we're most happiest when we are on our path to greatness, when we're on the vision that God has for us, when we're living a purposeful life. That is tongue twisters right there. And when we're living the life that we desire, that's where our happiness lies. But it starts from within, right? My coach tells me, it's like, you got to lead with yourself first. You got to lead yourself first, and then you can lead others. She quotes, and I quote, and my coach is Melanie Ann Layer, and she quotes and she says, for me, for you, and for us. Because when you can lead yourself first, you can lead the world, you can lead those around you, and then we can lead together, right? And it becomes an amazing infinity. And it becomes an impactful, you know, circle. It never ends, because we're together we rise. And so, but we can't work together if we're trying to beg for approval, right? I saw a little kind of, not a meme, but it was just a picture of a squirrel just going like this, right? It was just like this, like, you know, just completely innocent. It's like, no, right? That is like a begging thing. You shouldn't beg for approval. Squirrels, what they do when, you know, what do they do just before they hunt for food and they get nuts and all that stuff? They stand right like this, as if they're begging for the nuts, as if they're begging for their food, right? No, you don't need to beg for food. You don't need to beg for approval from anyone. You are who you are, and so be the best person you can be. Be the best entrepreneur you can be. Be the best woman you can be. Challenge yourself to greatness. Don't challenge yourself to other people's greatness, to be someone else. Challenge yourself to be greater versions of yourself, of you and you alone. Because when that happens, you'll be guided towards your purpose, and you'll start living the life that you desire. And the beautiful part is that you're owning your true and absolute truth, your authenticity, the realism. You're embodying every single piece of you, right? I spoke, as I said, I spoke about the 5 assets: the body, mind, spirit, heart, and soul. Those five things, when working together, works amazingly. But if we're only focusing on judgment here, if we're only focusing on begging for approval from others, then it doesn't quite work. If we're, you know, trying to, for example, beg for approval from God, this is a big one too, because what a lot of people don't realize is when we have such a strong faith and such a true faith, God is in divine partnership with us. We don't have to beg for approval, right? We're being divinely guided by the universe in our path to greatness. And so we don't need to beg for approval. No, because He's with us each and every step of the way. So even if we mess up, that's okay, because He'll divinely guide us back to the path, back to the direction we're meant to go, right? And if we're losing sight of that path, then He'll bring us back to it. We don't have to beg for approval. So if you have friends, which I know we do, and if you have friends that you feel like you're trying to beg for approval from them, maybe consider self-reflecting and be like, are they my true friends? Why do I have to beg for approval? Why do I have to try to be someone that I'm not just to be liked? I was like that for so long, and I'm gonna do a video. I did one on my Facebook Live a while ago, but I'm gonna do another one here on YouTube, on my channel. But it talks about, are you too nice or are you too kind? Because there's a huge difference. You can be too nice and beg for everybody's approval, self-sabotage your own desires, self-sabotage your own life, your own love for yourself, just for the love of others. Or you can be kind and be kind to people, right? Give back with your compassionate heart, and just be real with people and be authentic. When you're too nice, and here's the thing about being nice, when you're too nice, you give off essentially kind of this fake vibe that you're trying too hard. And believe me, I know, and if people even told me when I was too nice that I tried too hard because I wanted people to like me so much that I didn't care about my self-love, and I will do whatever I can for them to like me. But if you flip it around, when you're kind, then your authenticity shows, and it's real, and you're owning your truth, and you're being who you are, right? And that becomes a beautiful thing for your life, for yourself, and for others, right? Remember, like Melanie says, you lead yourself first, then you can lead others, and then together you guys can both lead, right? So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about now. Pop into the comments what you think about this video, because so often we want to we beg for approval without even knowing that we're begging for approval, and that's why self-awareness is super important here. Self-awareness and understanding that oh my gosh, like, holy crap, I can't, like, why do I keep doing this to myself? Why do I keep self-sabotaging my own desires, my own life, my own happiness, just because I'm too scared of being judged? Why can't I just show up for the world? Why can't I just, show up for myself? Why can't I just, show up for my story, show up for my message, and just own my truth and be who I am and be authentic and be real and just love myself for who I am? Because when I can love myself for who I am, every single person loves me. And if they don't, they're not worth it. They're not worth your time, right? You don't need them in your life. You don't need that toxic energy in your life. Just own who you are, because that person, that woman, is going to lead you into your greatness. And you'll hear me talk about stepping fully into your power all the time. You'll also hear me talk about a term that I've created called the unstoppability factor. And that is what is going to push you forward. That is what's going to push you into the next, generation. That's what's going to push you into the next level of your greatness, is understanding what makes you unstoppable, how determined you are to get to where you're going without letting go of your truth, without letting go of people's, without letting go of your own energy and giving away your energy, right? Giving away your power, and really, really fully embodying who you are meant to be in this world, because you are you, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters. So many people always say, like, when they drop a lot of F-bombs and whatever, they always kind of apologize. And I said, you know what? Don't apologize, because that's who you are. My sister is big for that. She drops F-bombs like every second word, and she never apologizes for it, because she needs to be unapologetically herself, and that's what makes her unique, and that's who she is. And so I honor that. People honor that, right? And if people don't honor that, well, they're not meant to be in your world anyways. So you guys, stop begging for approval, be who you are, and just show yourself your complete authentic truth, because that's what's going to push you forward into greatness, and that's what's going to, challenge your mindset, right? and break your inner glass ceilings and become bold, courageous women, unstoppable women that is really bursting inside of you. Because I know there's some women out there that are watching this video or that have come across my channel and saw this video, and those women are ones that are still begging for approval without even realizing it, because they have a fear of judgment. Yesterday I spoke about fear, right? They have a fear of judgment, and they have a fear of really owning and embracing their story. Well, you shouldn't. You shouldn't have a fear of it. Just own and embrace your story. I wrote a book, ladies, that's called The Girl Behind the Mask, because I really, really wanted people to understand that I've owned my story and that I've embraced it and that I've embodied every single piece of it. Right? My body, mind, heart, spirit, and soul. I've embodied every single aspect and every single facet of these pieces. And I don't have to apologize for it. I can be unapologetically me, because that's what makes me unstoppable. That is my unstoppability factor. Is my story, is my message, is my voice. No one else's. Right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you resonated with it, pop in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. And don't forget to share it with your friends. Subscribe and give this video a thumbs up and give this video a like. And hit the little bell so that you can receive notifications of my next videos, because I do go live every single day. So you guys are amazing.